Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve Hoare, delighted to be joined by Errol Smith over at the board. We've got Dan Club as well. Yes, it's the Uncensored match build-up. It is Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Kick-off 2 p.m. Team news out in about 12 minutes. And Errol, before we even speak, mate, about who's starting, who's not starting, who's on the bench, all that kind of stuff, we've just had a little conversation off here, but like, reaction needs, it's as simple as that. Like, Thursday was as bad as it's been.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said we get loads of comments, and I love it on the watch-alongs and on the shows, like Liverpool never lose when Steve and Errol are commentating, and like we big it up because it's funny, but actually it's probably because Liverpool are at home, and like Liverpool don't really lose at home, but they got battered at home the other day. Today has to just be about getting that out of the system, back on the horse, because if it is another slow start, another slow performance, you know, you can open up those old wounds. It feels like Liverpool need to right the wrongs of just of Thursday night.
100%. That's the only way we can do it, really. We've still got two big trophies to fight for and contend for, and at the end of the day, if Liverpool want to still be in contention for the Premier League, we've got to keep pace with now Manchester City and Arsenal that play later on this afternoon. So it's important today that, again, performances at this stage of the season are so hit and miss. It's just all about the results, really. You can kind of dissect the performances and analyse certain things out of a game, but for me at the moment it is just about getting the results and getting the job done. And Thursday wouldn't have given any fan any confidence, really. No. But at the same time, you know, these players know what they're capable of. They know they are miles better than what they put in the other day. As you mentioned, we got battered, absolutely outfought, outbattled. Even the simple things, little 2-5 yard passes, we weren't getting right. So there's a lot of room for improvements. And as you mentioned before, you know, the home factor is ever present, really, when we're here doing the watch-alongs, and we expect good home performances from us, but I don't think we can play 2 home games on the bounce as bad as what we did in midweek. So that's the kind of bit of solace that I'm holding out for, really, if anything.
Dan, there's a team behind you. We don't know the official Liverpool team news yet, but we're hearing that Alisson Becker back in goal. We'll get that confirmed in 10 minutes' time. I mean, that could be huge, really, for Liverpool if that's the case.
Yeah, it certainly could be, yeah. And that's not to sort of discredit how good Kevin Keller has been in Alisson Becker's absence. He really has stood up to plate, which has been priceless, really, for Liverpool. But Alisson Becker is Alisson Becker, isn't he? He gives you that confidence that everything's going to be all right, of just sort of brilliance in behind the defence and stuff like that. And I think particularly coming off the back of what happened on Thursday night, which was so chastening, really, in terms of the way we went about our business. You mentioned it there. We didn't even get the fundamentals right. We were outfought across the pitch in pretty much every single department, and Kelleher obviously didn't have his best night either. So bringing Alisson Becker back into this would be a huge, huge confidence boost for lads going into it, and hopefully get back on the horse at home, because our home form has become normalised a little bit in terms of we just turn up at Anfield and kind of expect to win. Obviously, we've got a shock in midweek, and we need to get back on it straight away. We can't afford to sort of rest on our laurels, just expect to turn up. For me today is about the result, as you mentioned, Errol, but also I do want to see a response from Thursday, because you can't go into this running now in the business end of the season just kind of muddling through. You do need at some point to sort of take command of the situation and sort of really put out a display that shows our rivals that we are the real deal, we are the meaning business at this stage of the season. So yeah, I'm made up that Alisson Becker looks like he's coming back, and I think it just plays into the fact that altogether now we are getting players back. The bench looks ridiculously strong as well today, so it's all sort of moving in the right direction just at the right time for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get that team news confirmed in a little while, Errol. But like Liverpool, the record against Crystal Palace, we've had some tough games at times, but actually they've done quite well against them as well. It's a home game against a team that's, you know, who aren't in great form, really. The new manager, touch wood, the status, right? They've won one game, you know, since he took over. It does feel like it's not the worst game to be coming back into. But that being said, you know, you've got to start well, because we've been saying for so long, mate. Well, Liverpool I think it's 20 games now where we've let the first goal in, and listen, more often than not, they have come back and they've won those games. But I do wonder, you know, if there is any mental fragility, a little bit of lacking of confidence. It's all well and good when you've been doing it for ages. Oh, you know, we'll just do it again. You know, all those games that we've turned around, we've sat here and watched us go one down. It does feel like there's a little bit of something since Thursday where, you know, have they got that belief if it happens again? Hopefully they don't have to prove it, because I'm not quite sure how the mental state of the squad will be after Thursday night.
Well, I can imagine it's taking a bit of a bruising. I think some of the egos have probably taken a bit of a bruising as well. And like when you deep it, you know, goals breed confidence. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it's the truth. And I think I think we've got to a point where we've become quite complacent and almost nonchalant in front of goal at times in recent months, where we know we're going to have so much control of the ball, so much control of the game. It's almost a feeling like we will create at will. So when we need to, we will. Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, that's fine in itself in isolation. But what happens when those creations aren't really peppering the goalkeeper, aren't really putting the goalkeeper under any pressure? Are you actually getting any confidence that when the opportunity does come in front of you, that you're going to take it and put it to bed? And I think slowly but surely we've eroded that confidence in ourselves, and now we're starting to doubt ourselves. So sometimes we make those half chances, instead of being ruthless and clinical and burying them, we're wasting them in their hope that, we'll create another one in a couple of minutes, it'll be all right, it doesn't really matter. But that makes it, you make your own job harder again when you go behind, because the pressure is on now that you haven't got that luxury of just creating chances at will, because you've got to make something happen with the chances that you do create. So I think, did we end up with 2 shots on target in the whole 90 the other day? I know Harvey Elliott is very unlucky with his shot, and it wouldn't count, but outside of that, even if those 2 shots, Darwin's effort, Harvey's effort, they're the ones that I can remember off the top of my head, if they both go in, we're still good to get beef up to 3 to 5-2 the other day, do you know what I mean? Because they was just clinical, and I think I just really love to see Liverpool find that energy again, and find that, as you say, that mentality that this could be the only chance of the game, so let's just make sure we bury it, and then let's just make sure that we're solid at the back, so if we have to win 1-0, we win 1-0. These are the games now where, truth told, Dan said it, you've got to start putting in the performances and show other teams that you're capable of going on to win the league. We've got to play like fucking champions, mate. We have to play like champions from here on out now if we want any chance of winning this league, and then we can be crowned rightfully champions if that's the case. And then second, these last 7 or however many games left in the Premier League that there are, these are the games now where people should be saying, do it for Klopp. Put it in now, because these are the last couple of games you're going to have with this manager, and he deserves absolutely everything. If there was ever a time to run through a brick wall, now is the time. And I think that's something that the lads need to really be pulling themselves in those huddles between themselves. Those should be the messages, really, for me.
Absolutely. Dan, Liverpool have had no issue really creating chances. I think it's fair to look at that team behind you. We think that is going to be the team. There's still plenty of creativity, 2 very attacking full-backs to boot as well. Yeah. But there has been some criticism levelled at the front 3, not so much. I think Luis Diaz actually has been a little bit exempt from this. I think he's probably been the best of those 3 on the ball behind you. But in Diaz, Núñez, Salah, it does feel at the moment like there's nobody, and it's mad saying this because Mohamed Salah scored like 230 odd goals or something ridiculous, but there isn't no one there at the moment like Liverpool are hanging the hat on thinking he'll definitely get us that goal today. It feels like all of them just aren't quite at it in front of goal. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly, to be honest with you, and that's been the case for a few weeks now. I think we've seen that in our performances. Errol's absolutely spot on in his assessment, because it's felt like we've been in control of most games recently, but without ever putting teams to the sword. It's almost as if like we're just waiting for it just to click into gear, and it's always an expectance that it just will, because of the firepower that we've got. And we've waxed Liverpool about it all year, because individually we've got absolutely every single base covered. However, when it doesn't show in the scoreline, or you're not reflecting that in the score, what use is that? You know what I mean? So it's felt a little bit like we're a little bit blunt up front recently. I think the problem is as well, obviously Jota's been absent for a large portion of this, so you can't really bring him into this conversation. Gakpo's been lacking in confidence and form a little bit. Mohamed Salah, numbers are fighting him, but he's not playing well at the moment. There's no two ways about that. Plus, obviously, it took him ages to get back fully recovered from that injury problem that he had recently. Darwin Núñez seems to have gone from hot streak to cold streak, and that seems to happen in the blink of an eye, it feels like. So that's been a problem as well. He's not exactly enjoying his best moment in front of the goal. And on Diaz, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think he's been the only one who's probably playing his best football. But the problem is with Luis Diaz, his best football doesn't contain mad numbers when it comes to assists and goals. He's playing really, really well, and he's carrying the fight, and his ball retention, his ability to get us up the pitch is outstanding. However, even the very best version of Luis Diaz doesn't get you 15, 20 goals a season. So when we are misfiring in front of goal, he's not going to be the guy to win those games in terms of his goals, because that's just not what he does. And that's not a criticism, by the way. It's just not the footballer he is. He's not Sadio Mane. So it's one of them for me. But there's no two ways about it. We have been misfiring in front of goal, which has obviously cost us in certain games. We've got away with it in others as well. The Man United games are one that obviously come back to bite us on. So yeah, it's been a problem. This team today, I really like. I think there's loads of creativity in there. There's loads of quality in there. You mentioned the 2 attacking fullbacks. Absolutely agree with you there. Very front foot. And it'd be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out as well. Canate back in is an interesting one. But when it comes to the final third, we're just waiting for them to click into gear, aren't we? When we look at Salah, look at Núñez, they're real difference makers. They're game changers in their own right. If they can just find that little bit of form, find that little bit of cutting edge, that little bit of sharpness in front of goal, that could be the difference between us winning this league, potentially getting through in the Europa League as well, to not doing.
We had a conversation the other day about Karate being able to already play the one game, and now he's looking to double up.
Right, good. And so he should be.
So he's a seasoned international. We spoke about this in the negative, but he's a seasoned international who's got absolutely everything it needs to be a very world-class centre-back. And up against Mateta today, a big physical, strong centre-forward, he's going to be absolutely crucial because he's the one, Virgil van Dijk, but he's got the pace, the power, everything to go up and compete against that physicality. I actually think he struggled big time on Thursday night against Scamacca. Obviously, Scamacca scores 2, so it's dead straightforward to say, but even outside of the goals, he was getting bullied a little bit, and that's not Ibu Konate, so he needs to respond as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's mad, really. He's come back in probably after one of his worst games, but I think it's probably the right decision. Christopher with the super chat says, Centre's got confidence playing in this game. Maybe we should rest Conor Bradley. I mean, Jürgen said the other day Trent was on the bench just for, he was never going to be on the pitch. It was basically, we were allowed to squad the 12 subs, so we just put him on, so I don't think he's ready. And then we've got Mike Ellis.
It was meant to be a little boost for us to see players like Trent and that in it, really. It was meant to boost the fans and get the fans up for it. And
he just isn't there. Yeah, he might not even be on the bench.
Bro, it isn't there.
We'll see if he's on the bench today. Ellis says, we're thinking Dan's might be worth giving a start. I mean, did he play 90 yesterday?
No, he came off with final 10 on Friday night. It was Friday night. Let me tell you now, just quickly on that. Everyone's seen his goal, and his goal was boss. He was untouchable all night long, honestly. He was a proper centre-forward before. I tweeted before the goal, like 15 minutes before, Jayden Dan's like, is that guy? And then he scored that goal. Honestly, sensational. So if he is involved between now and the end of the season, fine by me.
I can't see him playing 80 minutes on a Friday night in
the
Premier League game on a Sunday. Be looking to get himself on the bench, but you never know. And with the super chat as well. Other than Salah, we don't have a natural goal scorer. Nunes not good enough, and Gakpo not good enough. Jota injury posty. The Nunes thing, the issue with Nunes, when you say not good enough, I don't believe he's not good enough. He's just so inconsistent. Yeah. The best Darwin Nunes can score goals. He has scored loads of goals this season, but also he'll do your head in that games. That's the thing with Nunes. He is an enigma, and then Gakpo, probably something similar. With the up and down, Jota injury. I think, to be fair to Jota, someone smashed him, you know what I mean? It's hard to judge him. Jota hasn't really got like muscle injuries usually. A lot of it's been unlucky, like someone's smashed them. It's hard, but I mean, I think Jota still is the best finisher at the club, right?
Oh yeah, this season's proven that more than anything else to me, because the numbers across the 5 are good. You can't knock the actual numbers. But anyway, the team's out. Let's do.
Right, the team. Dan, do you want? Have you got it all on the bench as well?
We absolutely nailed it today, which I made up about.
A
full house. Yeah, Alisson Becker does return in goal. Conor Bradley, Ibu Konate, as we've just spoken about. Virgil van Dijk, the captain, of course. Andy Robertson at left back. Wataru Endo, adding the combativeness in midfield. Alexis McAllister, man of the moment, apart from Thursday. Even he had an off night, tells you how bad it was. Curtis Jones, an interesting inclusion in the start as well. Mohamed Salah, the much spoken about, of course, Mohamed Salah. Darwin Nunes, just touching on him there, leading the line. Luis Diaz, left wing, and then a bench. This is some bench, by the way. I know we said this on Thursday. Kevin Kelleher, Diogo Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Harvey Elliott, Joe Gomez, Cody Gakpo, Dom Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch, Jarell Quansah. Can I just say, before I come back to you as well, that means Stefan Bajcetic, Kostas Tsimikas, Jayden Dans and Bobby Clark aren't involved at all.
It's might be the best bench of the season, Errol.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. I'm just having a little look. It really is.
I mean, there's no young. I mean, listen. I'll tell you this, right? The young lads have done amazingly well this year. Like brilliant. All of them have been accredited themselves and the club. But you know, it is a more seasoned bench. I understand. That's now including Conor Bradley and Jarell Quansah as proper first team players, which they are. Like. It does show Liverpool's squad is starting to come back. There's still a couple close to it, but it does feel like we're nearly there with the squad. That looks like a squad, if it stays fit, that can win 7 out of 7. It does. But it does. You've got to start, you've got to do it.
You've got to do it, yeah. And that's the toughest thing, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, because some of the things that Klopp's had to do this season, obviously, we're already well aware that second halves have been where Liverpool have showed some of the best stuff, and then on top of that, some of the substitutions in the second half of games have been really crucial for us as well. So if we do need to turn to the bench and look for additional firepower, it does help when you've got a seasoned squad of, you know, your seasoned pros, lads that they're all vying for a place in that first team. Absolutely it does, but the reality is I've said it so many times when we've done these shows, will he make any substitutions at half time? Will he? And obviously in midweek he did.
He made 3.
He did make 3. He wanted to do it. Well, I mean, we got worse for it. But I always say Klopp looks at those lads and says, no, you put it right. The lads that I've set out, you didn't get it right in the first half. There was either a lapse in concentration or you were a bit wasteful. Go out there and put it right. Get us 2 goals back into the game, and then I'll start thinking about substitutions. And he's done it a number of times, which you could be really happy about. But now is the time that I think the 11 that start need to be the 11 that go for it from the off. They need to be the ones that really take the fight to any team that either rocks up at Anfield or any team that we rock up to at their ground and say, we're going to stick it on you and see if you can live with the intensity and the relentlessness that we possess. And as you mentioned, if everybody included is doing that to a T, we win every 7 game.
Yeah,
every one of the 7.
It's such a good squad when everyone's fit and firing. Dan, what do you make of Jones in for Szoboszlai? I've got a comment here. I'll bring it up now if I can find it. It was from Alexander, who said, I would have given Gravenberch or Elliott a chance over Jones.
Never.
I mean, I would agree with Elliott, to be honest. Elliott would be in my team if I was picking this team today, but the manager has gone...
Over Jones?
Yeah, today. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have today. I didn't think Jones looked fit at all on Thursday. He looked a little bit off it, but listen... He's benched Szoboszlai, Dan. Yeah. He didn't start in the week as well. He come on and he didn't have his greatest moments, but the manager's gone back to Curtis Jones straight away. It feels like it feels like if you ask Jurgen Klopp what his best 11 is, I think he's got Curtis Jones in it, because as soon as it is Curtis available, he always plays.
Yeah, I think he has for large parts of this season as well. I don't think it's a necessarily new thing to you're right. And it's not just because of Dom Szoboszlai's dip in form, which is absolutely clear for all to see as well. There's no two ways about that. He hasn't been on it for what feels like a prolonged period of time. Now, obviously, started the season incredibly well, hit the ground running in terms of Liverpool career, but never really got anywhere close to those heights because of the injuries and stuff like that. So, yeah, no problem for me whatsoever with Szoboszlai not starting this game, and with Euros today, I'd be Harvey Elliott in. It feels like, what does he have to do to get a start? Obviously, starts midweek, right wing, not his preferred position, it feels like these days. I don't think he was one of the worst players in the first 45 minutes. He was one who was sacrificed. Probably the only one the 3 who came off who could feel genuinely hard done by. So, yeah, I would have been Harvey Elliott from the start, because I don't think Curtis Jones was at it. And Curtis Jones, on form, at his sort of peak levels, optimum fitness levels, could be part of our best 11. I'm definitely willing to have a conversation around that, but he's not that at the minute for me. After 20 minutes, he looked more or less done midweek. So I don't...
It's not even I'll let him finish.
Sorry, I don't have any problems with it, because I like Curtis Jones a lot. Curtis Jones played a wonderful ball for Darwin Núñez midweek, which Darwin Núñez should have finished, and we might be having a different conversation about him. But outside of that, either side of that moment, he looked off the pace, and he looked off the pace at Old Trafford, kept getting caught in the ball, which is one of the old nasty habits of Curtis Jones's. Worked so hard to get out of his game, just crept back in, and when you're not sharp and you're not at it, that sort of thing can happen.
Absolutely, and it's
not even that I disagree to that point though. Someone do some numbers for me. How many games have we played so far this season? Well over 40.
Yeah.
Well over 40 games. How many starts has Harvey Elliott had?
He doesn't... Well, the manager likes him off the bench, doesn't he?
There we go. And that's it for me. That he is become... And like...
So you're done with him, pigeonhole him super sub now?
Yeah. We've got to, because there's 8 games potentially left.
The manager's done that.
That's what the manager's made that call.
So Harvey's played 45 games this season. He started 22, off the bench 23. And
so it's not massive.
To be fair, a lot of the start, if you look at it,
Cup games and stuff like that.
He started pretty much all the Europa League games. He started League Cup games. In the Premier League, it's different.
Yeah. Can I just say though, on this, surely that only matters, or that can only be a thing when there's somebody genuinely playing better than him to start in the midfield, which Dom Szoboszlai was for large part of the season. Facts. Curtis Jones was for a little bit as well. There's an argument to say Gravenberch was for literally a few weeks. Right now, I don't see another midfielder out of these 2 aside who should be starting ahead of Harvey Elliott. That's where I'm at. And
I think on merit as well, he should be in there, and he should be in with a shout on merit, definitely, because of his output and his application. But I just don't see how Klopp can rely on him at this stage if he hasn't been relying on him up until this point.
You're not going to change now, are you?
He's kind of made his bed on that, and I'm fine with it. But at the same time, it's like what we were saying before about the subs. He's got to be one that you expect to come off.
And he has been that.
And he has been that, exactly.
And the bench is so good. Look at all those lads. You'd want all of them on at some point if you had the choice. It's really good. Let's have a look then at the Crystal Palace team. Some changes for them as well. You've got Henderson in goal. You've got Munoz, Klein, Anderson, Lerma, Mitchell, Hughes, Wharton, Elise and Eze both start. It's been a while since they've had both of them fit. And then Mateta up front as well. So That's a team, actually. It's actually a little bit more attacking than sometimes Crystal Palace are. Elise and Eze, they haven't really been able to get them both on the pitch at the same time, mainly because of injuries, but now they've got both of them on with Mateta. That looks like a Palace team that might be coming to have a little bit of a go.
I don't blame them. Like, this is the thing now. Other teams are smelling blood. Other teams really want to test Liverpool's title credentials, and that's because we've shown our frailties, and teams feel as though, okay, actually we can get sort of against them now, and they're not, at home. It's not going to be an impenetrable fortress, Anfield. And I think teams all season have been able to find that, even if it is just the 1 or 2 chances. So it's about. I said this the other day again. Internal monologues, speaking to myself, I was sitting there thinking, certain teams know the best football they have to play when they play against Liverpool is in the 2 areas of the pitch. Their final third in terms of defending, and our final third in terms of attacking. They have to be clinical and decisive in those phases of play at all times. That's where they have to be switched on. And as long as teams are confident that they can do that, and whatever training and preparation they've done in the midweek leading up to the game, they will feel that they have a chance of being able to hurt Liverpool, and they'll equally have a chance that Liverpool will be wasteful and waste opportunities against them. And Liverpool need to put that right. Until Liverpool put that right, teams will keep rocking up to Anfield with confidence that they can hurt us and get something out of the game. It's as simple as that for me.
I suppose, Dan, that looks a little bit like I thought it's would you call it 3-4-3, or you could call it 5-3-2, depending on what you class Mitchell and Klein. They are full-backs, so they've got probably...
A lot of full-backs in that. Munoz is a full-back as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's 3 at the back, isn't it, with probably Mitchell and Klein as wing-backs. That's what that looks like. But it is a proper front 3 of Elise, Mateta and Eze. I mean, obviously it can become a 1 and a 2, but they do have there in those 3 players who I think are all decent players, goal scorers, potentially between them, creative players. It'll be interesting to see how Liverpool go about doing it, because if it's 3 at the back, effectively you can go man to man on those ones, our 3 against their 3. They might have a slight advantage there then in terms of 3 against 2 at the back. It feels like maybe they're trying to pin Andy Robertson and Conor Bradley back a little bit by putting effectively 2 wing backs and 2 wide men on the pitch at the same time. Maybe they are looking to stop Robertson and Bradley getting forward. Do you reckon that's what the plan might be? Yeah,
it definitely looks at that. And a good look at their side just then. And what I can't quite work out is who's going to be the other centre half. Obviously Anderson's one of them, but there's basically
Liam's been playing centre back.
Yeah, dropping back in, but then there's 3 full backs there as well, so it's a difficult one to sort. Yeah,
against City, Liam and Defo, he was a centre back.
Yeah, a makeshift one at that, because he's a midfielder by trade. But it's an interesting. I think in terms of their approach, you're absolutely spot on. And again, I agree with what Errol said. Why wouldn't you come and have a go at Liverpool right now? Because we've shown we are vulnerable, we are susceptible. Certainly early on in games, we're getting caught. So I don't really blame Oliver Glasner and Crystal Palace for coming and thinking, why not? Let's have a go. They're not looking over their shoulder anymore in terms of relegation. They're not going to get into Europe. So what have we got to lose essentially? Having Elise, Eze, and Mateta as the front 3 definitely poses a threat. So I've got my eye on our defence there. And Wataru Endo's got another big job to play in terms of his positioning, his performance as well, in terms of second balls and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of the full-backs, I think them playing wing-backs definitely is with an eye on pushing Robertson and Bradley back. I mean, obviously they wouldn't have known we were going to go with our 2 most attacking, aggressive, up-and-down wing-back type options. So, it's going to be an interesting one to see how that battle plays out. But listen, again, I come back to it. At Anfield, you'd expect us to have the lion's share possession, balance of play should be in our favour. So it should, in theory, work the other way. And Bradley and Robertson should be the ones pushing their lads back into their final third and making life more difficult and having them worry about their own back line and the other way around.
Absolutely. Have a little think, guys. We'll ask you for your score predictions in a moment. Now you've seen both teams. Let me know in the live chat, in the Facebook chat, in the Discord, your score predictions too. We've got a members chat from Stevie G who says 3 points, no excuses. Just make sure you take your chances, Reds. You'll never walk on it. Yeah. Liverpool will create enough chances to beat Crystal Palace today. Somebody's got to put the ball in the back of the net. Hopefully there's enough lads on there today who can do that. Just let you know, of course, the watch along will be live in about 35 minutes or so. So 1:45. Me and Errol will guide you through the entirety of Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. So make sure you do join us for that one. We always have a laugh on the watch. I mean, usually Thursday wasn't great, but for the most part, Errol, we have.
I mean, people were probably laughing at us Thursday, so there were still laughs to be had.
Plenty of testicle jokes as well.
Oh yeah.
You'll always get a couple. So if that's your bag, pun intended, then do come and join us. Score predictions wise, then let's have a little look. Paul has gone for a 3-1. Dan's gone for a 6-2. Daz has gone for a 4-0. 6-2. Freaking hell. 2-1 says Eto with Mo and Jota. King Mo's gone 2-0. Lionheart's gone 3-1. Keep them coming in, guys. Dan, Can I push you for a prediction?
You can. I'm not going to copy my fellow down with a 6-2. That's wild. That balls out the bath. But yeah, listen, I think we've said it already. I want a performance to Liverpool today, as well as the 3 points. Obviously, they're a non-negotiable for me. Getting the win is the most important thing. But I would like to see us play a lot better and sort of give me a little bit of confidence heading into these final throes of the season now. Move it with purpose, move it with meaning, play properly. Liverpool 4, Crystal Palace 1, I'm going to go with Mohamed Salah scoring twice, Darwin Núñez and Jota from the bench.
That is very specific.
Innit? And I'm here for it at the end of the day. If it's 4-1, it's a good afternoon outing for us. But I have not got the same level of confidence as Dan Club, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go for a nervy 2-1.
Oh, that's the same.
I know, man. My confidence has been dented. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front it for something that it's not right now.
Adam has gone the same in the chat. Adam's gone 2-1 as well. Phil's gone for a 3-1, but I'd love 5-0. I mean, I'd love 12-0. Quad Boss says I'd take 1-0 at this point. I mean, just win, baby. Is absolutely the aim of today, and just see what happens later on. See if Aston Villa can pull a rabbit out the hat.
No. I'm done with the favour. I'm done with the favour. Like,
but in that case, we need this from Ellis 8-0. We might need that. If no one's doing us favours.
No one's doing us favours. We need 8-0. Ellis, I'm with you. That's the energy.
Ellis, order the chicken.
Get it
for God's sake, order the chicken.
Get the bucket in, lad.
Order the chicken, Ellis. So you didn't get it. It went badly wrong. I think Liverpool will win 4-2.
4-2.
Yes.
You see goals, Aaron. You went for
from
goals,
us,
man. No, both. You said 4-1 and you said 4-2. You used to see goals from us after we've just sat here for 20 minutes saying, we haven't really got.
But I'm just waiting. It's left a lot to be desired recently off finishing, obviously. I'm just waiting for that to stop. And I'm always the glass half full, as in like, it's a good performance is coming, not a shit one. We've had the shit one.
Yeah, no, we've had the shit one. I think that's the bottom. Wednesday or Thursday for us.
It felt like it.
That had to be the bottom. Yeah. Like there's no margin for error for Liverpool going forward. I don't know if that adds more pressure or takes pressure away. Yeah. But I'm with you.
I actually think it could work in a positive way, in the weirdest, sort of most twisted possible sense. Because I've been saying for weeks now, Liverpool, this is a Liverpool side that aren't dying wondering. However, the performance hasn't reflected that. They look like they have been a little bit passive, a little bit lethargic. Just it'll happen. That's done now. You've had that rude awakening Thursday night, and it looks like some honest conversations needed to be had. Virgil van Dijk came out and said something very similar. So that, for me, needs to be that watershed moment. You draw a line in the sand there and go, not anymore. And it starts.
We've got a mini season, to go out and claim glory.
Yeah. Absolutely. Fingers crossed the Reds can get it done right. There's all your predictions. There's our predictions. Everything is settled. Do come and join us in half an hour's time for the watch long of Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to Errol. Thanks to Joe for producing. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, watching, getting your comments and your thoughts. And go and have a little break. Come back in half an hour and watch Liverpool hopefully take their place back at the top of the Premier League table. We'll see you all soon.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.